Dear audience, we present our work, LACY, a vision language model-based language action cycle for self-improving robotic manipulation. Human actions and language are deeply and bidirectionally intertwined. Humans can rapidly acquire new tasks by observing demonstrations and semantically interpreting the underlying task procedures, and this enables them to describe the observed actions in natural language. Just like this figure, one can readily articulate the task as a sequence of sentences. Conversely, when given a textual task description, humans can typically execute the described action sequence accordingly. Most generalist robotic policies, such as vision language action models, generate actions from given image and task description, which we can denote as L2A task. Despite these approaches show high performance, they require additional in-domain robot data, which are extremely expensive and require significant time, equipment, and expertise to collect. On the other hand, we argue that from a given demonstration data, a complementary skill of observing an action and generating the task description, A to L, can help robots to deepen the task understanding and maximize the learning efficiency. Moreover, by taking advantage of bidirectional learning with A to L and L to A tasks, LACY provides a novel form of self-supervision by framing the problem through the lens of cycle consistency. Our L2C model, a language to consistency model, checks the consistency between the language input and the language output, which is made through L2A and A2L task. If the given image and input and output pairs are verified as consistent, we can select language input and action output pairs as the new trained data. Through training the model with augmented dataset, which the original dataset and newly created dataset are merged, we can make the self-improvement process both robust and efficient. Please refer the entire pipeline above. LACY builds on a single VLM fine-tuned to serve three roles: an action generator, an action explainer, and a consistency verifier. The framework operates as a closed-loop system, where these bidirectional capabilities enable LACY to generate new high-quality training data and iteratively refine itself. And each task is framed as a chain of thought process where the model first performs object grounding to protect object names and locations, and then uses this contextual information to complete the target task. Finally, we sample the new sample dataset, which can be added to the initial dataset. We show the self-improvement performance of LACY. We first assess its performance after varying numbers of self-improvement iterations from 1 to 3, starting from the model trained on only 100 demonstration data points. In each iteration, the model performs data augmentation through the L2C task and fine-tuning with the combined dataset, generating 100 new triplets. A LACY joint is trained only on ground truth data, while LACY joint filter is trained on ground truth plus L2C sample data. While LACY joint filter initially underperforms LACY joint on L2A and A2L, its success rates increase consistently as more self-generated data is incorporated, and it notably surpasses LACY joint on L2C task. We evaluate the core reasoning capabilities of our bidirectional model. To establish a strong performance baseline, we use a version of our LACY model fine-tuned on a larger dataset of 4,000 data demonstrations. We compare our LACY joint model with LavaNext base, which has not been fine-tuned on robotics data, and GPT-4o, both with and without ground truth object location information provided in the prompt. We found out that our LACY joint model general purpose models like GPT-4o and the base LavaNext model struggle with precise spatial grounding from a single image, leading to poor performance. However, when provided with explicit grounding information, GPT-4o achieves near-perfect results, demonstrating its powerful reasoning capability when ambiguity in object grounding is removed. Our fine-tuned LACY model significantly outperforms the known fine-tuned baselines, showing the effectiveness of our training approach. We conducted an evaluation study to find out the effectiveness of joint training and filtering. A jointly trained model, LACY joint, outperforms the independently trained one, the LACY ind, supporting our hypothesis that a shared representation through joint training is very beneficial. Furthermore, adding our data filtering and an augmentation cycle, LACY joint filter, provides a substantial performance boost across all metrics, and this confirms the effectiveness of our self-improvement pipeline. We also conducted an evaluation study to see the impact of chain of thought prompting strategy. The results indicate that the explicit reasoning step provided by COT is crucial for achieving higher performance. Finally, we evaluate the performance of the LACY models in real data and our best models on a real 7DOF Frank-America Panda robot. Our experiments are conducted in a simulated tabletop environment built using this Capella sim using 32 YCB objects in a real-world setup with Frank-America Panda robot and an Intel RealSense D415 camera using 12 real-world objects. To investigate the sim-to-real gap, we compare the performances between the models by evaluating training with real-world data. LACY ind real and LACY joint real are further trained on a real-world dataset from the simulation-trained models LACY independent and LACY joint. Our real-world data evaluation shows performance gains observed in simulation translate effectively to the real world. Through training with real-world data, LACY independent real and LACY joint real improved the performance by successfully deriving the correct object names, with LACY joint real accomplishing the best performance across all three tests. A real-world robot evaluation also shows that the pick and place actions generated by LACY models are also effective in real-world tests. So we first show 4 simulated robot demos, which was done in Capella simulation. We used both the absolute and relative spatial descriptions for the task description inputs. We also show the real-world demonstrations for both absolute and relative spatial task descriptions. As seen in the upper left is the hand-eye camera view, and the image on the middle left is the action output of LACY. We finally show the failure cases of LACY in real-world evaluation. In most cases, the picking action has assigned the correct object, but the picking location is at the boundary of the objects, and the object tends to be out of the graspable range.